All right, so Kyle is, of course, a new up and coming rapper who was featured in the Double XL freshman list of 2017. And he was even called the most forgettable rapper of 2017 by, of course, da-na-na-na, Amiri, who called Kyle the most forgettable rapper of 2017. And I have nothing against Amiri. Shout out to him. He's pretty cool. He's a pretty cool guy. And Gully Boy even said that he didn't like Kyle, but he also admitted some sort of colorism prejudice when he said that Kyle, he don't like light skinned singing happy niggas like that, like Drake and stuff like that. Pretty fucked up. On the song Open Doors, he actually did that. And you will hear Little Yachty like sprinkled all throughout the album. But let's get back to Kyle. So, of course, he dropped his newest track off his pretty good single, I Spy. And let me tell you something. Kyle is like you know how Little Boat group had everybody who was with Little Boat and stuff like that, like Barry Perry and the other chick, and I forgot all of them. All of them fell out of really out of fame. Kyle should have been part of that group because he's like a defined disciple of Little Yachty when it comes to like early Little Yachty, of course. I mean, look at the album. Instead of having like two ink tears showing that he murdered somebody, he has glitter on his damn face. Like, look at that. That's crazy, you know? And it just looked like he's at a fucking disco or whatever, of course. And of course, the title, A Little Light of Mine, kind of reminds me of the little gospel tune, This Little Light of Mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Of course. So this album starts off with Up and Down, which is, of course, a track talking about how his mood fluctuates throughout the day and sometimes he feels depressed and sad. And you'll get a lot of that yin and yang angle all throughout this album, just like to give you a heads up. And he does a reference to Xenon, the Princess Warrior, which was pretty cool. He also references the whole idea of putting the Kid Cudi track on and, of course, relaxing. And Kid Cudi has inspired a lot of people. And even Kanye West said that Kid Cudi is one of the biggest influencers of our generation. Oh yes, and that little bag reference that he did, a bag of chips, was pretty clever, I should say. And he also talks about how he broke down 8 months before his track blew up. He had an emotional breakdown. Kind of reminded me of Logic, except a little bit less of the interruptions because of the vocals. And instead of having a person like Tyson speak, you have Little Yachty speak, which is okay. Towards the end of the track, you have Little Yachty speaking as this guy's conscience, which is pretty alright. Coming Going is a track that I don't really care for about. It kind of sets up too much of the track that's coming up next. But the whole Zoom Zoom could be a reference to how Planet Rock was, But after finding out that African Bam Bottoms is kind of a little bit inappropriate that he would probably do the Zoom Zoom, I was thinking maybe it could be a reference to Kendrick Lamar's Institutionalized, but whatever. The next track is Zoom, where there's a reference to him actually avoiding the cops and not getting shot, and he's not going to smile until he's up to 100 miles. The next track, where it's Japan references on its sleeve, of course, having like the person singing the hook actually sing in Japanese. All right, and I like the whole reference where he said that he was eating at Wendy's and now he's living like he married Oprah Winfrey. That was pretty cool. Oh yes, and 2 Chainz does a cop reference, like the second cop reference on this whole album, where he says speed fast like you're around the cops. I guess he's talking about a race or leaving while the cops are following you. Whatever, it's cool. Also, he says that he's going to roll up a blunt that will last for about an hour. And I was like, damn, that's a lot of hash. That hash gonna make you crash, man. All right, game actually sounds like that it's from a game, like a part of the game, like a 1980s game to tell you at least. And he does a lot of references. He does a reference to Young Rich Niggas, which is, of course, the Amigos. And he even does a reference back to him being a part of the freshman class when he referenced Made in Tokyo. You know, he referenced the whole song Uber Everywhere. Baby has Alicia Caria feature To Die For. You know, she was pretty awesome. And the whole track is talking about don't grow up too fast, which of course goes with the whole idea of Kai's kid-friendly nature. I really like that. All right, Open Doors talk about how some men are very desperate and how some men will claim that that's their girl on every picture that they post on Facebook, showing how needy they are. And then to be the opposite of that, how some men will use a girl and actually pay for dinner when he eats, and also, you know, make love to the sound of course, Chief Keef, you know, just to seem tough and stuff like that. To the Moon is a track I really don't really care about. You know, he does the A flow a lot and the yeah flow that was really like made by, of course, Chief Keef. You know, maybe it was a reference back to Chief Keef since he was doing that, but otherwise, it's a pretty garbage song. All right, Playing With Me is a track that really, I kind of feel that Kai really lacked on. But you know what? His features saved him on here. As you know, she talks about how, you know, you don't even like girls, which is a little bit of a baffler. But she's talking about a girl, so I guess she meant it in a like a friendly way or whatever. I don't know. Very interesting to talk about. Oh yes, and there's also a Walk a Line Johnny Cash reference, which, you know, at least he's going to keep it like way old school, probably even preschool with that reference. But hey. All right, I Miss Me talk about how you change for a significant other until the point where you actually miss yourself and you want to go back to your old self. And you know how you kind of like, you stop going out with the bros to drink, you stop hanging out, you stop smoking weed for your significant other. But I really like a track like that. All right, so Ship Tip, of course, you know, I like that it rhymes a little bit, yeah. But no. Ship Tip, of course, I really like the reference where he said, I wish that Bad Decisions had a preview. You know, that was pretty nice. And he also referenced how his father wasn't really there and his mother, she's not there either because as soon as she could, she moved to Las Vegas. Some very nice stuff. And pretty much you have a fantastic voyage feel. And of course, towards the end of the track, you have Lil Yachty saying that it's okay not to feel okay, which is very some consoling shit. And I guess since his mother moved to Las Vegas, he decides to move to Rodeo. And he talks about a girl who actually like moves to the big city and start going wild and pretty much forgets about the nice guys like him. And he's on a child's t-shirt. Come on. Come on. He's a nice guy. But the whole song, It's Yours, take the nice guy thing and put it to 11, to tell you the truth. As he talks about being so desperate to actually, like, even if you don't get the address, you actually Google a girl's place. Like, that's some stalker shit, man. Like, It's Yours is very uncomfortable track. I don't really like it. Okay, Clouds is short. Clouds is a short track, but it's one of the more emotional tracks as he talk about how he's looking at all he have. The only thing that's missing is all he want, which of course could be a reference to the girl he lost. A very nice and emotional track. Also, you have the song I Spy, which was a pretty great song. You know, you have him doing some witty things like he says to a rapper, your album was the shit. I wonder who wrote it. Like, oh shit. Okay, that dumb haters go away. It was only ruined by, of course, Lil Yachty, who to this point was actually doing pretty fairly well as a featured guest and as his conscience. But he pretty much ruins that by saying that She says that she's 21. I might have to ID that, which is a little strange because at that point he was 17. So what the hell is he IDing girls for? At most, she could get in trouble by fucking him. But but you know what? That's all I have to say. This was a pretty good album, you know. It has its bumps and bruises, you know. Of course, some songs were pretty shitty, but overall, a pretty nice album. I'm gonna give it a 7 since it's his debut album. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. And how did you feel about this album? How do you feel about it? Do you feel he did his best, worst? Comment in the comment section.